Yay! Hooray.
Hey, woo! Good game, Zuck. You've earned your hoodie today. Congratulations.
Which is funny because I watched that um,
The
what's
Social
it called?
Dilemma.
Social Dilemma yesterday.
How was it?
It was good.
Really? I've heard
Yeah,
I've heard it's impactful. So
yeah.
I'm excited
That's
about
in a
that.
word. In a word.
Yeah,
You remember when you watched the McDonald's one where um,
yeah.
it's that. It's like, oh God, I knew it was bad, but oh God. Like
Is
it's that
it
sort of
is it like needlessly just like fear mongering, or is it
Mm-mm.
pretty on point?
No, it's top executives, former executives from Google, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram,
Hmm.
WhatsApp, all going, we didn't see what was coming when we all built this. And there's lots of great things about it, but then it does. I didn't think it was particularly fear mongering. I just think they were legitimately concerned that if we didn't change some regulations and some specific things, that
Hmm.
this is going to cause like civil war and unrest and things like that.
Was there a guy named Tristan? Yeah, I've heard that.
Tristan.
Yeah, Tristan. Yeah, that's right. I knew I was saying it wrong. I just didn't know how to say it right. Sorry.
Yeah,
No.
he's kind of the main character, if there was one. He was the
Yeah.
one talking the most, but it's done. It was well done because it was a mix between interviewing these people and like a typical teenage household story in the middle.
Hmm.
It's kind of carrying what they're talking about, you know,
Okay.
in a really realistic way. It wasn't corny.
Yeah.
I didn't think.
Well, Bill suffered yesterday without you, right? The show was, not super great because I was, just trying to figure it out, and didn't have my bill. So, how was school?
Um, I was distracted. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Were you aware of it, like in that moment, and like, are you mad at yourself, or is it just one of those things like later on you look back, you're like, I could have done better.
Um, Well, I had a lunch meeting yesterday, so I was my brain was already thinking towards it. So the
Mm,
first half of the school day was good. Like because I knew I was leaving at 11:15, and so I was like, all right, I got to get locked in here. So that was good. It was more the second half when I got back, and all the wheels were turning after you've been out networking and things and doing things. You're like, oh, but I need to work on this now and work on this now. So you and I both are our own worst critics. So I think if someone were looking in, they would go, "What are you talking about? You seemed fine." I was like, "Yeah, but if you knew where my brain was, I
yeah,
was not, I wasn't parked on my phone or anything." But
yeah. I mean, that's fair. Why? Can I ask why you would take a lunch meeting on a day when you're supposed to be like kind of more or less invested in school?
yeah, because it was over lunch, and lunch I'm not involved anyway.
Okay, but
Because like the kids disappear, and I basically just sit there and read a book or
okay,
do something anyway. So
but
it's not something I plan to do on any sort of normal
okay,
basis.
okay,
Yeah,
cool.
no, I'm not going to start doing that or anything. It just happened to be one I wanted to go to, and got the personal invite from the person running it, and was like, "It's over lunch. Sure, I'll pop in."
Yeah, okay. But I just
Fair, good question though.
Well, I mean, if we know that like any work stuff is going to make us start to turn towards the work stuff, then maybe on those days we have to trap ourselves into
Yeah,
not doing any work stuff.
yeah, that's the reason not to do it. Really,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point.
Can I show you something?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to give me screen sharing.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not even a host on here.
Yeah,
I've been working on this month, and I showed it to some people yesterday, and I haven't even shown it to you. So I was like, man, if I'm showing it to other people, I got to show it to Bill.
yeah, bring it.
This is my
Mike
daily.
Tao, by the way, congrats on your super fan. I know it's top fan, but your top fan badge for our page.
All
Good
right. Anything up
morning,
here?
Levi. Good morning, Michelle.
Check this out. Okay, you ready? Wow. Can you see this?
Yeah, it looks like a spreadsheet,
Yeah, baby.
which explains why you're excited.
Yeah, this is my daily tracker of the things that
Oh,
I'm
okay.
working on, right? So my
Oh,
self-care stuff is up here, work specific stuff is down here. Um, I'm still building some of this stuff out, but I've been kind of tracking my stuff every day this month. And then my goal, right, because I showed this to some people yesterday and they're like, I think I want this. So now I'm kind of standardizing it a little bit, and I'm going to have some formulas in here so that way you can kind of figure out your percentage to greatness, which is just about like following your own plan and your own intentions really at the end of the day. But yeah, this is my, I'm super excited about this.
I like this. I like this. This looks like a phone app in the future.
Yeah, eventually, right? But there's so much that gets in the way on these phone apps that are supposed to be habit trackers, in my opinion. Like they're needlessly complex.
I agree.
That's why I want this one, because
the rest of them suck.
Well, let me finish the formulas. You can have it, my friend.
Okay, cool. I like it. Nice.
Check out what I got yesterday.
Okay.
Oh, the book,
The Art of Living from Zen, from Marcus.
From Zeno to Marcus Aurelius. Got it.
Oh, Holiday. Yes.
Yeah, it's the new one. I'm super excited.
Nice, man. Super nice.
Yeah.
I got a new book yesterday too, called The Science of Storytelling.
Oh, okay. Tell me about that. Who wrote that?
A person named Knorr, Knorr, but it came highly recommended in a lot of storytelling circles. Because it's less of the, hey, here's how to do it, and more of why the science of the brain makes it so effective.
Do you think that that's what people need, though?
What?
Honestly, the like, hey, stories work, right? Like, I think that most people are kind of on board with that. You know, maybe they're not in practice with it, but like, I need more help telling stories that make sense and just don't overteach.
Yeah. No, this is an old book too. It's not a new book. This is for me, for my own edification.
Roger that.
I know better how to connect the dots. Not to, you're right. People need practice and execution.
Yep,
for sure.
I am listening to Over Deliver by Brian Kurtz, who's like an old school direct mail guy. But yeah, it kept coming around, kept popping up. A lot of the copy people who I kind of follow and enjoy hanging out with have spoken highly of it. And so while I'm not a copy guy, so far it's really solid. So
I'll tell you what, any of the people that you can read about that were copywriters doing the direct mail or newspaper era, that will blow your mind if you're into any of that.
I was kind of thinking about this today, like on my walk just now, like thinking about direct mail and all this stuff. So much of like what we see ads for on social media before ads was just stuff in the back of magazine catalogs and stuff like this, where you had like this much room to generate some interest and get people to buy in and like reach out for more and stuff like that. Like those guys had it very, very difficult. And now we've got these like 7-minute ads on YouTube and stuff like that. Like, I mean, if you can't generate interest in 7 minutes, like you need to be doing something else. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, for sure. Like the airplane magazines too. Like those people have to nail you in the first 3 seconds. So you're done. You're gone. Yeah.
So like if those guys were successful at it, right? Like back in the 60s and stuff like this, like it's interesting to me because I thought that the data-driven marketing was like a fairly new thing, but they're talking about, he's like, look, the minute you have a control, your next goal is to beat that control, right? And he's talking about this guy who was so confident that because he had beat down his own controls so many times, time after time, that whenever someone is like, hey, we're going to bring someone in to like test your control, he's like, go for it. Like just no concerns at all. And I love the sentiment in that because it's, are you complacent, right? Are you constantly pushing? And I really liked how he talked about that in this chapter of the book. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, super excited about
Deep
that
material. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, they were actually talking about yesterday in the Social Dilemma about how the AI is so good now that they've literally passed the phase of and if you've ever studied AI and machine learning and things like that, you tell the machine what to optimize for, and then the machine continually A/B tests at thousands of decisions a second, and does testing. And that's one of the reasons you see Google and Facebook and stuff like their dashboard and your feed change so much. It's not Zuck that you need to be yelling at. It's the AI they've installed 5 years ago that's making micro changes to see what will engage you further. So it's literally, and this was the scariest part to me of the whole thing, the quote was that the machine runs Facebook more than Facebook runs Facebook now. Like it's literally, they have no idea what it's doing sometimes because it's just doing what they programmed it to do. And so it'll do things and like, well, it's probably just AI testing something again.
Yeah, I'm building out a sales team for an AI marketing product, right? Kind of analyzes your marketing spend, talks about some stuff. I'll have more details soon, but as we're talking about it, they've run a lot of volume through this thing, but the main goal of filling the beta, which is what we're doing, so we're giving special pricing and everything else like this. If you are an e-com agency owner, let's chat because you're going to want this. So it's like, okay, cool. We need to shove a lot more data through this thing so that with the sample size continues to grow and continues to learn and stuff like that, because it's showing some huge cool gaps to make it really easy for media buyers to kind of figure out like what to do, how to scale, how to handle more clients and stuff like this. And but the bigger the sample size, the better. So always, how much more data can you collect? Speaking of data, my buddy Michael Perroni, I watched him last night and won $20,000 in a tournament and like I think $4,000 or $5,000 in another poker tournament last night playing online.
Wow.
Yeah, he's in my Discord channel, and
That's
so
what you meant.
yeah, like, so he was deep, and so he was streaming, and we had a small little group of people who were kind of watching him and cheering him on, and then he got deep in one, and then he won the other one. So huge day for Mike. That's huge.
Congrats, man. I know he pops on here every once in a while. So
yeah,
you see this, man. Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. And I pull so much of how I think about like sales and poker or sales and marketing from poker, because, if you're not consistent, right, you're not even in the game anymore, right? If you're not, plugging your leaks and looking for the opportunities where you're losing energy, losing time, losing deals and stuff like this, then you can tell yourself whatever you want. So, right. That's where my tracking love comes from.
Yeah. Which is funny because it's not funny. It's scientific. There's two. I'm on the gut side of all the personality charts, and you're on the data side. So there's two ways to play poker typically too, right? There's the calculating consistent over time winning, and then there's the gut guys and gals that are like, nope, this is it. This is my time to go in. Or they know the game, but they're reading the people more than they're calculating the odds, sort of stuff. So that's it. I think that's a great analogy across a lot of different things.
So in poker, it's called either being a field player, or this is what I'm not as deep in this world as I used to be, so the labels might have changed, but it was called either being a field player or being GTO, game theory optimal, right? Like, are you studying the math enough that you're making the right decision in a vacuum? Because you make the right decision in a vacuum, then you just have to trust the process that, if you're going to win a hand 25% of the time, right? So 1 out of 4 times you're going to win the hand, as long as you make the same decisions that you make.
Right.
Consistently, right? But when you start to do what you feel, right? Well, I feel like, I just lost with pocket queens last hand, so I've got pocket jacks this time, so I'm probably crushed again. I'm just going to fold. Well, if the math doesn't tell you to fold, you're playing emotionally driven, and that's problematic. You have to detach a little bit.
Yep. Swings,
variance, baby.
Yep, for sure. Cool. So what's your day look like today?
Oh man, it is definitely a Thursday, and it's the first day of the last quarter, guys. We have 90 days left of this year. That's stupid. That is stupid. Right?
Hey, is Damian Norman your guy? You know Damian?
I do know Damian. Damian's a super solid guy.
Yeah, he said you guys rock. So,
thanks.
You know what? You hardly know me, and you're right.
Damien is a big energy guy. I got to be on his podcast. We had a great conversation. I got introduced to him from a guy named Michael Dardanus, who's a yogi practitioner, and he also coaches select soccer. He's got a couple of soccer clubs. So yeah, very, very cool guy.
Cool. Sorry. Go ahead.
Today we got Sales Lab. I have a catch-up call with a copy guy. I have a gnat in my office, which is driving me crazy. I've got a meeting with the mastermind group. I have a lunch with someone who I'm excited about this. Al, who's on Sales Throwdown with me, both of his kids are at TCU, right? And one of them is a senior. And all her whole time at TCU, she has been really focused on dance and was there on a scholarship and stuff like this. And now they're starting to have conversations of like, okay, what happens now? You know? And she's not sure like what she wants to do. And so I was like, well, I've got lots of projects going on in different ways, right? If she has some time and would like to, right, she can kind of intern, right? Try to figure out like what she might be interested in. And then if there's something here, then, you know, she can work on it and then it'll hopefully turn into like some sort of paid gig. And I reached out to Al and asked him because, you know, he's paying for TCU. I don't want to I don't want to misdirect anybody's attention if it needs to be fully on school. So we're having lunch today at noon to kind of talk about the different projects. So that'll be really cool. Supposed to have a catch-up call with Joey today, your boy Joey, but I think I need to move it because I don't think I'm ready to have that conversation yet, like mentally. And let's see, then I got a call. I'm not sure how this ended up on my calendar, but what I found recently is those are some of my best calls. So I'm not even really worried about it.
Yeah.
Then I have a call with an HR firm because I'm going to need like constant recruiting for these sales teams I'm going to have to be building. And then after that, I've got a private client call with Michael Ryan, talk about his offer, talk about how we're going to lead gen for it, stuff like that.
That's a lot.
And sales throwdown this evening. So I'll be done at 4:30, small gap between 4:30 and 6, hang out with the family, come in, do a batch of episodes, and yeah, call it good.
Big one.
It's a Thursday, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Not as much as you today, which I'm not that sad about.
Yeah. Don't be sad. Don't be jealous.
Yeah, I'm not. Don't worry. I do have a fair bit of. I almost got you.
I almost spit. Man, if I had ruined this beautiful Yeti blue microphone that's right here by spitting coffee all over it, I would have been so mad. I just would have bought another one, Jake.
Yeah,
that's what would have happened.
Yes, it would have been tragic. Yes, a new mic,
bigger, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Monitors more what I was worried about.
Well, I would be pissed if I ruined this monitor after just getting it.
I'll make you spit on the old one, so you have to replace that soon.
Yeah, there we go. Look away.
Yes, look to your left. Bazingo. Okay, so I've got to finish up the huge writing set of projects that I had this week. I've got to put a cap on that today because I got to get drafts. All the drafts are really complete today. So still a decent bit of writing. I've got so the Goals app.
Yep.
Team I tell you about. We're actually in talks with them to do some work with them.
Dope.
So got a call with actually a planning call today for our call tomorrow with them. Okay. So we're looking at trying to engage them. They reached out to us. So very, very cool. Excited.
Man, I love that app. The creation and customization of my own goals was a little, tedious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
That's kind of my, but I love it, right? Because I love it for habit tracking and everything else like this, and would like to eventually have something like that. So that way everybody that I'm working with, it's like, okay, what are you working on? What's your self-care look like? All these things, because, the balance is important.
Well, they've got a whole ecosystem they're building. They've got cards that you can actually load up when people, do things that engage with the app, where they can actually buy things off these cards. It's an employee engagement is really.
So they're going to have a currency inside of there as well. Is it? Mm-hmm. Are they going to do an ICO kind of deal?
I'm not sure. I haven't gotten very deep with the team yet. So that's been James mostly. I've been on the outside working on the messaging part a little bit and some things like that. I'm about to find out though.
Cool.
So it's really, really cool because they're trying to put a new spin, a new, more digital, really fun spin on employee engagement than like the traditional companies have in the past. And
yeah, exactly.
Since we're going to be on the website as a case study, and that's kind of how the whole thing got started, because we get really involved with them and they liked what we did with it. So
it's $3 a month. Isn't that what it is?
I think so. And then based on how many users you have, they have some different stuff. So I'm about to go real deep into it and see what all the options are and what the roadmap is for it and some cool stuff like that. But they're doing really well. They're growing a lot, obviously, with lots of people working from home. And then, as we go back to more hybrid approach in general in the future, people need more non-in-person incentives that
Mm-hmm.
are actually fun and useful. And that's really the niche they've kind of carved out for themselves, which is really cool.
Yeah. I was talking with someone the other day, and they said the word culture, and they kind of finger quoted. I was like, "Why are you finger quoting?" And he was like, "This is such a stupid buzzword." And I was like, "Why do you say that?" Right? And so we kind of got into this conversation about it. But like, there's people who work on culture, right? But when you don't put any emphasis on culture, that is still in itself a culture inside of your company, right? And it might not be
Yeah.
right. Are you being intentional, or are you winging it? Right? Is kind of the thing that it comes down to. And I think that tool very specifically does or has potential to do a lot of good things around building good culture.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And one of my favorite quotes, one of the things I tell my kids all the time, they probably hate it. It's gonna be one of those things when they get older and I roll and say, "Yeah, my dad used to say this."
Yeah.
It's like when you don't make a choice, you still make a choice.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's the same thing with culture. When you choose not to work on your culture, you're choosing not to work on your culture, and that's a culture.
Yeah.
Same idea. So I love it.
Yeah. The one of my first sales coach, Scott, who's a Sandler coach, he's so Sandler has these rules, right? And one of the rules is a decision to not make a decision is still a decision, right?
Yep.
So
Same
if essentially, if you're willing to let people thrive in like ambiguity, then it's on you, which is really powerful as a salesperson.
Yeah. And another way to look at it is that when you don't make a choice, you're actually allowing someone else to make the choice for you. So,
and on that note, right? Hold on. Say what you said again.
when you choose not to make a choice, you're letting someone else make the choice for you.
Yes, absolutely. And so by that same token, when we get an agreement as a salesperson of like, hey, right, at the end of this, can you let me know if we're constantly not okay? We're making this agreement, so we have to trust that they're being honest with us, right? And we can only reciprocate that by giving them trust. So we have to be aware of that, because at the end of it, you have to ask around what your agreement is. Like, hey, we talked about this. What happens now? And that's really important, right? If somebody's not leading that conversation, the conversation's probably not going to go anywhere. And of the two people, who has more reps of having these conversations, the salesperson or the prospect? I mean, even prospects who are buyers and they're getting hit all the time, they probably have some sort of process, and they probably feel like they can run the show and everything else like that. And you can choose to play in that area, or there's too many prospects to endlessly shove yourself into situations to where you don't feel comfortable, you don't have a net, you're not really sure like which way is up and stuff like this. Go find somebody else to talk to. So
yeah, and that actually reminds me, because I'm writing a lot of email right now, is that when you build stakes, or when you don't build stakes in your emails of them not making a decision, you're basically, that's a similar situation where people know that if they don't make a decision, that they're going to keep doing the same thing they've been doing and suffer in the same ways they've been suffering. And you see this done badly a lot. You see a lot of people who are just high riders who build this false, pain or different things like that, right?
Or like the ClickFunnels guys, and there's that clock, like this pricing ends in 2 minutes, and then you hit refresh and the clock just like restarts.
Yep.
It's just like bullshit
garbage.
leverage.
Well, it's lazy. It's I think it's just lazy, because the concept itself is great, because if people, the reason someone comes to you is because they don't want to keep doing the same thing, because it's really freaking annoying the way they're doing it now, and they're looking for a solution. Just remind them, hey, there's a better way to do this, and this is what it looks like. You're avoiding this, you're getting to this. If that's something you're ready to make a decision around, I'm your guy. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And there's a right way and a wrong way. But the reason I thought of that was, if you don't take the time to share real stakes, then you're not, it's like kind of the same as not doing anything. You're letting them just kind of wander around going, oh, that's a nice feature, and that's a nice benefit. Remind them there's a decision to be made here, and here's a reason you told me, or we know it's important to you.
Yeah. There's a big difference between somebody who says, right, when you're just focused on features and benefits, which is like marketing, in my opinion, right? You get people to raise their hand by saying this is bigger, better, faster, more improved, and everything else like this. But when you get to the conversation portion of it, you have to make sure that there's some motivation for change, right? Because you can spend a lot of time talking to someone about like why your stuff is better, right? That we're better, and they can say, cool, like that sounds better. But at the end of it, if they don't buy into the idea that like what they have is not enough, right? You're dealing with the status quo, right? Which is Scott told me this once. That's your biggest competitor. It's not anybody else in the field or anything else like this. It is just like staying with, this is the way we've always done it, right? So yeah, when you're trying to discover their pain points, their concerns, what keeps them up at night, however you want to like reference that, make sure that they're telling you that what they have isn't enough, because otherwise you're just an improvement on this thing, but they haven't bought into the fact that they need the change.
Yep. Yeah. And that's why I've come to a point, especially in email, but in general, like most of the time your competitor is not your competitor. It's your own clear communication. It's your own ability to understand your client and have conversations that matter to them. Because when you sell against and market against competitors, you're cheating yourself, because the reason they're there is not because of your competitor. It's because of a problem.
Yep. So
talk to the issue, and I even think features and benefits, this is me just kind of theorizing. I don't have any stats for this, but I think features and benefits are the very last thing people check right before they buy, to make sure that they're not missing out on something better, depending on what they're buying. Because in general, if you have a great marketing message, you get the first shot at them, or the best shot at them, to sell them. And as long as the sales call goes well, most people aren't going, well, give me a minute. I need to go check your competitor. No, because you've done a really good job of saying, I can solve this for you, and I'm empathizing with you, and I can prove it. Why are they going and looking around? Because if they believe and feel like what you have to say is true, they're not going to go, price check you and do all these things unless they have to or absolutely need to.
Yeah. So when we're building out sales processes, we use this thing of the big seven, which is the big 7 reasons why 90% of deals don't close, right? And so these are general things that are going to be applicable to everybody, but everybody's got these wild cards, right? These things that are unique to them that can like just stall conversations, right? If you're the small guy, there's a big guy. If you're the big person, there's a small person. If you're local, there's a national player. If you're the national player, somebody wants local. There's all of these things that are going to be kind of unique to the situation, right? And so you have to figure those things out. But that's one of them, right? Because you have to ask those questions early, right? Because like when you wait until later and you're chasing and everything else like this, you can also kind of position yourself around that, Jake. Some of the people that we talk to are looking to work with someone local, so that way they can have, the peace of mind that they're working with somebody in the community. Other people are looking to work with someone huge with a big team, and they know that they can get a lot done, and they're okay with a little longer wait time and maybe some premium pricing there. How do you approach that, right? That's awesome if I'm the small guy, right? And I'm trying to like seed a little bit of doubt in the big person and stuff like this. But if I'm the big person, you have to go the other way. But when you can do that really, really well, and you can draw out the things that they're concerned about, because they might be like, yeah, John, I really want to work with someone local. Okay, could you tell me more? Why? Why is that important to you? And I did this to a guy once, and he goes, well, because I want to be able to come over and knock on your door if you don't do the work right. Has that happened to you in the past? Absolutely it has, man. I hired these people from India, and it was a complete shit show. And I was just like, man, I'm super sorry to hear that. We hear that fairly regularly. What did you like the process? Like where did it break down? And then we're deep into this pain conversation of why he wants to work with somebody local. But that kind of stuff doesn't happen if I don't ask those kinds of questions around the things that are common with the things that people, and this is a marketing thing as well, right? Go back to the people that you've sold, right, and worked with, and be like, hey, why'd you pick us? Right? And marketers love this information, and salespeople get into every conversation if they just ask for it, right? Every marketer I know is like, how can we get more data from our client base, right? And they do these surveys and giveaways and everything else like this. Like, you're a salesperson, you get to hear this in every conversation you have going on if you just ask for it and you make it approachable. Yep. Oh my God. Yep. Stop assuming the sale and stop doing these terrible things, because you're just putting yourself into situations where you can't get any feedback from the people you're talking to.
Yeah. And what's funny is I've taken the opportunity to put sales and marketing teams together from large companies for that exact reason. Let's go. You guys are the best allies. and ask each other. You know, I framed it up and seeded some questions and different things like that. And most of the time, it's tough to watch. So I end up taking notes and then giving them back what they need versus them leaving going, that was awesome. We should do this once a month or once a week. It's like, all right, are we done? Are we done?
Yes. Oh yeah. The animosity between the groups is substantial, but like I think, and I hope that with this move towards data-driven selling and CRMs, and really, like, you know, as more and more people kind of get on the path of like trying to do it the right way, or what I feel is the right way, that some of this gap between sales and marketing kind of decreases. Maybe that doesn't happen though at big enterprise levels where like everything is very siloed and intentional.
There's still a bunch of humans involved. So
yeah, exactly. Egos and agendas and goals and everything else. Yeah, for sure.
Things. That's right. So, all right, Bill. Well,
this is a good
Thursday.
show.
We got to get to running.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a pretty small day, so.
That's right. If you want to hang around for a while, that way at least you fill some of your morning. Yeah. You know, you can watch me work.
Exactly. Awesome.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Gabe, thanks for simulcasting again this morning.
Thanks, Gabe. Man, dude.
All right.